I resigned, and this gets to be my life. Oh, I've been an educator since 2006, and that's when I got my teaching certification. I have had the privilege of teaching in inner city Minneapolis, St. Paul. I have been a homeschool parent. I have substitute taught at a religious school. But for the last 9 years, I have been teaching at an alternative high school with at-risk youth. And it has been an honor and a privilege to work with the students and the parents that I've had the opportunity to work with. But education right now is broken. My hair, after I resigned 2 Fridays ago, my hair is not falling out. I had an emergency massage on Mother's Day a couple Sundays ago, and I would have a knot in my back, a Charlie horse in the middle of the night a couple times, and I just feel so free from pain. I have a specialist appointment that I made in February for just intestinal issues because I've just been so anxious. I didn't know it was anxiety. I thought that there was something wrong with me. I'd been looking up things on Google. I don't recommend it. I have been teaching my students for years something called the Gift of Mondays. My mom went to Africa, and she came back with this book called The Gift of Mondays. I cannot find it online anywhere, but there was an individual that talked about what a gift it is when you can have a job that you look forward to and get excited about. I teach my students that as they're going through high school and then post-secondary education, whatever that looks like, the goal is not to get your dream job. I hate it when we ask our kids, our youngest kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? If we ask them, I wonder if you've got a kid right now, if you ask them what jobs are out there for them to explore, they might be able to name off 10, 20, 30. At Idaho Power, our local company, there's over 600 different types of jobs. We're not teaching them about what's out there and what options there are and who they are. I believe that there is so much that we are not teaching our students. I was planning on bringing a stack of papers that my son has, an entire binder this big, filled with worksheets, just from this semester, and maybe this quarter, because I think he might have dumped them before the start of the quarter. And then I was like, I don't want to bring that to this place. When I was teaching my boys with homeschool, which, by the way, education doesn't recognize homeschool as school. I loved teaching them. We would pick a museum somewhere in the country, and the plan was to go even out of the country eventually, but we picked a museum somewhere in the country, and then we would study the exhibits. My favorite exhibit was a spider exhibit at the Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. And I wouldn't say, we are now going to have a math lesson, and here is a worksheet. We built spiders from around the world with clay and yarn and different types of crafts. And then we would do ratios of their legs. We would look up the dimensions and what that looked like. And we talked ratios and adding and everything, but we never even called it math. We called it spiders. And we looked up spiders in Australia versus New Zealand versus Africa versus Asia versus Boise, Idaho. And they were just enthralled. We practically lived at the library because they couldn't wait for the next book to learn more. Both my boys, when I ask them if they're excited about the day for school or what they're going to learn, they both don't want to go to school. Maybe for their friends, maybe for an event. But they both talk about how bored they are or how frustrated they are because they know that there's going to be a test. And then they study for a test. We have this teaching method where teachers are expected, first of all, to know a gazillion standards. That's an over-exaggeration. Let's say it's 82. Let's say it's 60, 50. We go to school, we learn these standards, we have these meetings about standards. For a specific example, we've been horizontally and vertically aligning, meaning we are trying to get all of our English standards aligned. We spent time, Power Team 5, shout out to Power Team 5, years ago, 7 years ago? And we took time to align the 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade standards, meaning like I can develop a thesis and back it up with topic sentences. That's not one, but I'm trying to say this in language that everybody can understand. Like I can write an essay and have a claim or a thesis, and then I can back it up. And we would say in 7th grade, you need to be able to do this. In 8th grade, you need to be able to do this. And then we were trying to look at like how do we align claim evidence reasoning in English with claim evidence reasoning in science. But every year something else changes. And then this last year, our legislature changed the standards. And so guess what we get to talk about all next year? Standards. Oh, I don't get to. I get to talk about education and what matters. Do you know what else? I don't know about other states yet. I'm definitely going to look into that. But in Idaho, a couple years ago, I was so gifted with being able to teach financial literacy to 9th graders. Financial literacy. We should be teaching this from kindergarten. I got to teach a financial literacy class. I created a game called Job Experience. Job Experience and Life Experience. We talk about Job Experience as all of the things that you're exploring during school. You have someone who's paying the bills, hopefully. You have someone who's making food and getting you set up. And so you get to explore who you are. Who are you? What makes you different from a computer? What things are you naturally gifted at? What things are you not naturally gifted at? And how does that apply to you as you're getting ready to have a financial adult future? What kind of jobs, if you don't like geometry, but you do like algebra, or you don't like any kind of math, but you really like art, like what kind of jobs are even out there? So for one example, I had a student who, for her lifetime, she thought she wanted to be a nurse. So she had been just dead set on, I'm going to be a nurse someday. So everything that she did, she was, I believe, a senior. Her scholarships, her ideas of where she was going to go to school was all based on being a nurse. But I make them choose 3. They have to have 3 different options. And so she was very upset. And I do a needs analysis. So I give them a questionnaire. We go through and explore different things about who they are, look at personality traits and everything. And then that aligns with what they might want to do for jobs. They get to explore and do a lot of just idea creating about what their life can look like as an adult, which they should have been doing since early. In the process, she found out she really doesn't like touching human bodies. As a senior, I'm so amazed at the non-metacognition that we don't have students thinking about their thinking about their learning, thinking about what they're naturally talented with, what they actually hate. And if they dislike something, what gets them through that? What skills do they have that they can overcome? What tools do they use? Because every single student's different. One student might need to have a solitary place in a library where they just focus for an hour. And another student, that might be the worst thing possible. But if they've got music on and if they are out at a park, that's where they learn. But they don't know these things about themselves. For 13 years, from kindergarten to 12th grade, we're not exploring these things. And then having them document what they're learning and who they are. Anyway, on the flip side, during my course, she ended up deciding that she really liked computerized topography. Look it up. It's really cool. It's in the field, but it's digital. And so she's currently going to school. I think she's going to graduate this. I think she might have just graduated, actually. And she's going to be doing something that she is thrilled about. I believe education is broken. And it's broken for our teachers, too. We have 45-minute classes or 70-minute classes, and it is so isolated. We have students sitting in desks. A lot of them are bored out of their minds. We have them listening to us lecture or teach things they aren't really that interested in. They want to get the grade. And so forgive me for this, I almost lied for my son on an assignment. because he had to go home and then prove to his teacher what he had learned based off of her feedback during the course. And so he said he didn't learn anything, which I looked at his stuff and maybe he might have learned a little bit, but it wasn't anything new. He did multiple essays, multiple packet worksheets, multiple, and then read books that he'd already read. So he's trying to prove what he's learned so that he can get an A. And we're diving deep, and I'm almost encouraging him. No, I was encouraging him to lie because I'm in the mindset of get the A so you can get the scholarship so that you can go to college. And he doesn't even know what he wants to go to college for. He thought it was coding. He almost signed up for a technology program called CodeWorks and was really excited about it until we started to explore that, and he doesn't even know if that's what he wants to do. Education's broken. Teachers are tired. Students are bored, exhausted. And even if they are plowing through doing all the AP classes and doing all the right things, if you ask them what the purpose is, it's to often get the GPA so they can get the scholarship so they can go to the best college. And I have so many students right now that have $120,000 in debt, and they don't have to. There's millions of dollars in scholarships out there. And some of them graduate and then they're not even doing what they love because when they graduated, they realized that they didn't even really like what they're doing. But I resigned. Oh, it's scary. I don't have insurance this fall. I am not going to have a paycheck. But I tell my students that the gift of Mondays is real. And if you can have a job that you can look forward to on Saturday, and a job where at the end of the week, you are not looking forward to checking out on Saturday, but you're so filled up from your job that you can't wait to spend time with your family or rest or spend time out in nature. One last thing. When I was a flight attendant, I remember taking off, and I flew all over the world with Northwest Airlines. What a delight of a job that was. But I remember sitting in my jump seat and looking out the window and just being amazed that this building was taking off the ground to be in flight. And I thought to myself, if I ever lose this delight, I need to move on. I've lost the delight in teaching. I don't like how it came to an end. I'm writing a memoir. I've got an epilogue to write now. But it's time. And I look forward to using my experience to inspire young minds and change the way that we do education. I'm going to mess this up, but I'd love to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from George Bernard Shaw. He says, "This is the true joy in life, to be used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one. To be a force of nature, instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world didn't devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the greater community." I forgot the next part, but it is something like, I love to work. To work is to live. I want to be used up before I die. I rejoice in life for life's sake. Life is not a burning candle to me, but some sort of splendid torch that I have a hold of for just this moment. And I want to make it burn as brightly as possible for the next generation. I'm excited for this future endeavor. If you've stuck with me for this whole video, if I've ever had you as a student, or if I've ever been able to encourage you to do something, getting a business started is incredibly difficult. I've already invested money and time and a camera. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I have a business plan, and I'm transforming my home, my master bedroom, into an office. I've already gone to zoning, and I've got an application in. I am thrilled to do this full time. It's also nerve-wracking. So if I've ever had you, and if you've ever been supported or encouraged or learned anything from me, if you can click on my channels, and I'll put them in the comments, but if you could just leave a review, I would be grateful. Positive, negative, everything in between. My name's Tara Lynn Haley. My parent company is Be Where You Are, LLC, but I was told that I should just go with a name brand, so Terrell Haley, terrellhaley.com. I'll have a YouTube channel and LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm going to learn Instagram. I might even learn Twitter. I don't know. This life is really exciting, and I look forward to doing it with you.